Hello tubes, welcome back. This is another lawnmower I got for free. It was posted. I've already power washed it, and I did run it a little bit. When I first started running it, trying to run it or pull the handle, it was making a very bad noise. I can't explain it, like metal on metal or something. The owner said that, or the person I got it from said that the blade needed to be balanced or maybe replaced. Well, I don't think either one of those are true. I think they just didn't have oil in it, because I didn't see much oil in it, and I added a little bit of oil, and when I ran it, it ran fine. So this one might be hopefully they didn't run it long enough without oil, or not enough oil in it to damage anything. But this should be just a basic service and turnaround. I probably don't even need a clean carburetor, although I might. The gas tank does need to be cleaned though. I'll cut back in when I get this shroud off, to get this off. This is one of the newer Briggs, so I'll cut in then. To get this off, it is 3 5/16 bolts. This is much easier than the quantum style engines, so I'll cut in now a little bit later. Tubes, this is a newer style Briggs. The recoil is different. This part here is actually plastic where it used to be metal. These will break, so this is something I don't know why they changed it to plastic. But to get the shroud off, to get to the gas tank, just 3 bolts, and this just pops up, kind of like the old Tecumsehs were. They just pop up. Well, I need 2 hands to do it, but hello tubes, I'm washing this out. Just gotta dry it off. Since I don't have a compression air gun, and I don't really have the desire to buy one right now, I just use my leaf blower, my electric leaf blower. Let's dry the tank out. The air filter, I just popped it out from here. It goes in like this, or like this, or actually like this. Looking at it, doesn't look terrible. The inside's still pretty clean. I'll just shake this out and blow it out and put it back in. Hello, back. I just brushed and cleaned this out a little bit. Should be okay. Now, as you see here on this newer style Briggs carburetor, this is the auto check one, because you see this linkage going to here. This controls your choke, because when it's cold, it closes the choke. When it's hot from the muffler sensing, it opens the choke up. This carburetor is fine. Yeah, it was running earlier, so I'm not going to really do anything with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know I just said that I wasn't going to do anything with this carburetor. Well, let's go ahead and take it out and look inside and clean it out and then put it back in. Since this is already running, it's probably okay inside, so I'll just clean it out with some carb cleaner. Oddly enough, the bolts here and here were 5/16, and this one and this one are 7mm. Got the screws off, and now I'm going to pull the airbox off. It's just held on now with this breather hose. And here's our new style Briggs carbs, all plastic. I'm not a big fan of that, but but they will not corrode inside. So, because they're not made out of metal. But they are prone to, since these bolts are just screwed into the plastic, to, you know, if you screw the bolts in too many times, that you'll mess up the plastic it's biting into. Now I've pulled it off the intake tube, because this just slides in like this with these guides, and you're gonna pull it up, and you have to get this linkage off and the auto check linkage off here, kind of at the same time. Scratch taking them off at the same time. I got the auto choke linkage off first, then I got the throttle linkage off. Auto choke linkage goes here, throttle linkage goes there. You probably, if you're doing this for the first time, take a picture of it before you start taking this apart. So to open up the carb bowl, you take off these two bolts here. This bolt in the center, right, you see there, that's if you wanted to just drain the bowl from gas. I believe that's what it's used for. I've never used it, but these other bolts here on the two sides, they are 7 mil, just like the ones in the other ones. You separate the bottom bowl from the carburetor. Use a flathead screwdriver to kind of pry it open, like right there and on the other side. This is what one of the newer style Briggs plastic carbs looks like. You get your float here. Your needle and seat is below the float, and right there where that's your main jet. I think that right in the center, that does pop out. And then there's some jets and venturis in there too. Be very careful if you take that out, because I have broken one of them, but on the second part I can usually pop it out, but there's another part that pops out, and that part I don't recommend taking out. It enables you to clean a little more thoroughly. And I saw somewhere, I think it was Terrell Fixes All or something, that little, I don't know, it looks like a bearing. It's not, it's a little ball there. That does pop out, and so you can clean in there. Go check Terrell Fixes All out, his channel. He's got some very funny skit videos, and then followed by a how-to. Typically it's on the tractors and riding lawnmowers, but occasionally there are some on snowblowers and you know, push mowers. You take the hinge pin out, and it's sitting over there in the bowl, and then you get your needle, and does this have and they have a rubber tip now, so I don't think there is a separate there is a separate seat in there. There is a separate seat down in there. It looks like, you probably can't see it. Yeah, maybe there. There's a seat in there, and your needle is like this, and it looks like it's a rubber tip. So try not to get any carburetor cleaner on that, because that may cause it to swell up. But the metal part you can get carburetor cleaner on. Okay, yeah, dump this fuel that's in here out. And that's just a milk container. Oh, cut open. Now to get, these are the jets. This is where most of your problems are going to be. To get them out, you see there is some places on it that you can get a small screwdriver in. Let me see if I can. You can get your small screwdriver in here to pry it open. Be very careful. If you break this, you'll be buying this new part. It's about $9, $7 to $9. Some careful prying up. I got loosened up, so I can now pull it out. And there is, oh, yeah, and it just fell out. So I'll spray that out with carburetor cleaner, the inside, and this is what your jets look like. This part here, where my thumb is, that will come out right here, this part. However, you have a good chance of breaking it. If you do that, you can just buy this part. There are two of them. One's for a high altitude, and there's another one for regular. So run a wire through those, spray carburetor cleaner, and don't forget. Let me see. A jet there. No, but try to run a wire through that one right there, if you can focus on it. That one's not too bad, and just so this piece itself costs more than a rebuild kit for the classic Briggs, where you got the diaphragm. Those diaphragms are like $2 to $5, and the rebuild kits for the Quantums are like $5. This piece by itself costs more. Little tubes. This wire I'm using here. This wire. Those little bread ties. Well, I stripped off the outer cover, and this is the wire I use to clean out the carburetors. Also have some. Sometimes I use like a wire for a bristle brush, and I forgot to mention this. The camera. That one to run a wire through. Basically. See if I get the camera focus. You do that, and spray it with carburetor cleaner. Wear eye protection with this, because if it sprays back and hits you in the eye, it's going to burn. You spray here, you spray it here, it should come out here, and maybe there. Sorry, tubes, I was interrupted by a phone call. Spray it here, and it should come out both places. Might, okay. Cleaning out the bowl over here. Spray carburetor cleaner out here. This is the fuel line. I didn't take off, but if you've got one of these hoses like that, you can just put this in far enough, and then then you can get some, spray some through there. Make sure there's no blockages. Also, deep in there in this part here, that's where the main jet goes into. There should be like 3 holes. Spray some carburetor cleaner into those. And spray inside throttle and choke plates, so they're not dirty inside of here. And don't forget these air bleeds. That one's just for the screw. And we open this, and there's one way down. I don't know if you can see it. This is kind of hard to do. There's another one right, spray right here. it all back. Now I'm gonna put it all back together. Putting it back together, you just put. This will only go in one way. I believe it's like this, and you just push it down and it'll snap in place. You don't have to push too hard. It'll look like this. It'll snap in. Don't push too hard. Might break it, but it just floats. Bowl back on. If you notice, the float bowl has this part right there. It's kind of molded. That corresponds to. Let me see if I can. That corresponds to this. So you put it in, and it can be a little bit difficult to get it to go in, but you'll get it. Just snap in, and it'll snap in, and then you put the screws in. Don't tighten up the screws too tight. But now with the carburetor all assembled, and something interesting to note, I couldn't find one of these screws. Well, it was underneath my mag bowl attached to the magnet. To reattach it, you first put this throttle in like this, and then bring it over to get the auto choke linkage up, which goes in that hole. Back on the carb back on the motor, and now I'm just going to start throwing the parts back on, the covers and the recoil and tank. This tank's been sitting outside for a while, so it should be dry now. Get it all back together. Let's see how this thing runs. Auto choke system. Don't need to prime. Just filled it up with some. Just put about a half tank of gas in it. Get my third hand. It's in place. Let's see. Tighten up this guide for the looks really good. Now I just need to top off the oil and sharpen the blade. The oil was almost empty when I got it, and that's probably why it was making a noise like a bent blade or something. But the blade isn't bent, but it probably could stand to use to be sharpened, and I'll look and see if it's balanced. I will come back later with a final look. And when you turn it on its side, always turn it, no matter which lawnmower you have, always turn it with the carburetor side up. Otherwise, you turn it the other way, oil can flow into the carburetor or intake, and then you will have trouble starting it. Okay? Looking at the blade, yeah, it could need to be sharpened, but I don't see any major bends to it. This will be the final look and startup of this Yardmachine with the auto choke. I have the bag in the garage. This is one that I got for free. I think the only thing that was wrong with it was low on oil, so it made a lot of noise. And it seems okay. It starts right up. Sharpened the blade. I topped off the oil with fresh oil. Cleaned the carburetor and the gas tank. I'll have to test this some. Can't test today because I just mowed my lawn yesterday. Here we go. First pull. No smoking. Hope this helps someone out. Even though the carburetor didn't need cleaning, I went ahead and did it anyway, kind of to show you the YouTubers out there to how these newer style Briggs work, or how to clean them out.